Hey guys, California Phantom here. I went ahead and did a range test with the Autel Evo. Let's talk about it. Alright, so the team over at Autel actually opted out of using the 900 megahertz on the Autel Evo, instead only going with the 2.4. Now originally I thought this was going to be an issue with the 900 megahertz not being present. I thought maybe in urban environments, Wi-Fi, a lot of different congested areas, we'd have an issue, but so far I've been pleasantly surprised. I haven't really taken it beyond line of sight in urban areas, but the flights that I have conducted, I've had zero transmission problems. So that brings me to my second question, which is range. Now certain YouTubers like Ken over on his channel, Originaldobo, did a test with the Evo on range and got about 1.5 miles. Now he may have gotten a little further in subsequent videos, but I wanted to see really how far I can push it. So in order to get that test going, I took it to an optimum place, somewhere I knew there wouldn't be any significant Wi-Fi interferences. So I took it between Stockton and Elk Grove in pretty much farm country. I got off on the off-ramp, found a big giant open field, and I just sent it. What was amazing was the conditions weren't that very great. I had some significant wind, I would say anywhere between 8 to 10 miles an hour. And what was worse was it was very close to 100 degrees. What blew my mind was once I reached and crossed that 3-mile threshold, I actually looked down at the controller and I saw that I still had 5 bars. So I know the manufacturer's specification says 4 miles under optimum conditions. I gotta say it's gotta do at least that. If it wasn't for the fact that I was running out of battery, I very easily could have went 4 miles, possibly more. So the only conclusion I've reached with this Evo after having it now for a few weeks, flying it over between 30 and 40 times, is the Autel Evo isn't necessarily revolutionizing the foldable drone space. I think what they did was they took DJI's Mavic Pro and they improved it. I think if you had to say a sentence with the Autel Evo, is the Autel Evo was what the Mavic Pro should have been. The shortcomings with the Mavic Pro, you had the flimsy gimbal. Autel took care of that. They put a really solid, robust gimbal. They gave you the 4K at 60 frames, something the Mavic Pro, Mavic Platinum never had. So Autel Robotics gave you the rear sensors and the front sensors over the Mavic. They gave you that really amazing camera. That's definitely the standout for this thing. And they definitely put the trust in the individual with the lack of geofencing. With all the apps that are available out now, with Before You Fly, UAV, of Hover, Air Map, all these different apps are popping up. Most of us all know where you can fly and where you can't. And I really like the fact that Autel puts the trust in the user, the end user, in flying responsible and flying where you should, because I can't tell you how many times now I've taken it to a place where I can legally fly, but because there's an NFZ close by, or because I'm close to an airspace, even though I'm flying in the opposite direction, I can't fly, and that's a DJI restriction. I know there's a process to unlock that, but just the fact that Autel puts that trust in the individual, I gotta give it to Autel with this Evo. Now, interacting with the Mavic Pro, holding the Evo, I have to say the Evo is definitely more robust. It feels as solid or more solid. I mean, I know when I move around the Mavic, I feel like the legs just aren't quite as solid and as firm as the Evos. Just the build quality on the Evo seems a little bit improved over the Mavic Pro. So this really goes out to people that are maybe on the fence about getting a Mavic Pro. I think the price point, I believe the Mavic Pro right now is $799. You can get an Evo for $999, which might likely drop. I know there's been rumors of it dropping to $899. I think the few $100s extra is definitely worth it. You get a quieter flight, you get a more robust system, you don't have to worry about the geofencing, and you get a better camera. So the solid form factor of the Evo's gimbal is far better than the Mavic Pro. I know one of the things that bothered me about the Mavic Pro was they actually stuck an exposed ribbon cable on the top of the gimbal housing. I never quite understood that design implementation, and I know many of you have suffered from the fraying on the ribbon cable and end up having to replace the wire. That's not an issue with the Evo. The Evo has completely sealed. You're not going to have to worry about any ribbon cables breaking. So what I'm saying is the Evo is everything the Mavic should have been. Now, if you're on the fence of getting a Mavic Pro, a Platinum, I know they're on sale for $799 at the moment. What you get when you get the Autel Evo, I think is worth the few $100s more. You get a better camera, you're getting the 4K 60 frames, you're not having to deal with the geofencing and all of that, what that entails. You're getting a more solidly built aircraft. Maybe it's not as sexy. I mean, like I said in my last video, it looks kind of like a Baywatch life preserver, but you get a better aircraft. It's more stable, it's more quiet. You know, I have no complaints with this Evo whatsoever. Sure, they've had some issues with the horizon tilt. They're gonna have little things, but they're already taking care of that with firmware. They are definitely on it. So I love the fact that I can actually call these people up 7 days a week, get a live person on a phone, and pick their brain, ask them questions. If I'm having any issues like that horizon line, they're gonna be able to give me answers. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. You understand now that the Autel Evo can be capable of flying in excess of 3 miles, given the proper conditions. And I want to thank you guys for subscribing and leaving your comments. It's Darth Bill 68 is the winner of the Mavic propellers, so I'm going to send that out to you as soon as possible. So in one of my previous videos, I actually announced that I was going to be giving away this Autel Evo to one of my lucky subscribers. If you haven't already seen that video, I'm going to put the link up here somewhere along the top there. Go ahead and click that and make sure you leave a comment. If you're already subscribed, you make sure you leave a comment. If you haven't already, hit a like on that video. And then, like I said before, when the DJI announces their next drone, that's when I'm going to be announcing the winner of these Autel Evo. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. You got something useful out of this. 3 miles, no problem. No geofencing, 4K 60 frames, solid craft, very, very quiet. Autel Evo, everything the Mavic should have been. Until the next adventure.